Hey everyone, it's D here, and I just wanted to make a quick video kind of talking about a really important part of reading Yu-Gi-Oh cards. This is something that I feel like if you're new to Yu-Gi-Oh, you may not know because it's not explained in like the tutorial of this game, like a lot of things. It's also not explained in the rulebook anywhere. In fact, I don't really know like where it is explained. It's just one of those things that you kind of have to know. So I hope this video helps a lot of people out, and it's basically the tip when reading cards is to look for one of the most important symbols in terms of just understanding in what order things happen and what's a cost, what's an effect, how exactly these cards work, and that symbol is the semicolon, right? So we can just pick any random card here. So for example, we can pick up this one, Dark Lord Asmodeus. I don't really know what this card does, so if you're reading a card for the first time, looking for the semicolon actually helps out a lot because it tells you in what order things happen in terms of like an activated effect, right? So this one has just a colon. Yeah, so there's no semicolon here, so there's not really a cause. Bad example. We're not gonna. We'll come back to this one, right? Okay, yeah, this one's perfect. Let's look at this. World Legacy, World Lands, right? So it has monsters can attack, whatever. You can use each of these effects once per turn, and then so here we read the effect. During damage calculation, if a link monster battles a monster, quick effect, and then we have the colon there, right? So the colon, anything before the colon, that's kind of like the condition, right? You can discard this card, and then here we have the semicolon. The opponent's battling monster loses 3,000 attack, right? So the semicolon here is really important, right? And whenever I'm scanning a card that I haven't read before, I'm playing in the middle of a game and my opponent plays some card that I haven't read, I always look for the semicolon, right? Because the semicolon tells you what's going to happen before the chain and what's going to happen after the chain. So it can be confusing knowing like what's a cost, what's an effect. And so what you should know is anything before the semicolon is going to be the cost, and anything after the semicolon is going to be the effect. So for example, you can discard this card. That means on activation, when you activate this card, you're going to discard it. And then the semicolon happens right there. And then only on resolution of the chain, the battling monster is going to lose the 3,000 attack. Is the stuff after the semicolon going to happen on resolution, right? So basically what that means is anything before the semicolon, you're going to do immediately right there when the card activates. So if you activate something as Chain Link 2, right, you're going to do all of the stuff before the semicolon right there. And then after the semicolon, that's what's going to happen when the chain decides to resolve and go backwards, when you and your opponent are no longer adding things to the chain. So I've had a lot of people ask things like, oh, I play Pot of Desires, I banish 10 cards, and then my opponent uses Ash Blossom, and Pot of Desires is negated. But even though it's negated, I still had to banish the cards, but I didn't get to draw off of it. And you can tell that by looking at the semicolon. So if we just look at Pot of Desires real quick, here we can see right here, banish 10 cards from the top of your deck face down. There's the semicolon, right? So the banishing is going to happen right when you activate the card. And then after the semicolon is when you draw 2 cards. So even if the effect of the card gets negated, anything before the semicolon is the cost, right? The colon is usually just used here. I had another example of the colon. We can go back to this Dark Lord Desire. The colon is usually going to just be used to indicate a condition. So for example, once per turn, or if something, oh, here we go. This one has a colon. Oh, I was looking at a different Dark Lord before. So the condition is once per turn, right? So it's saying you can only do it once per turn. That's all the colon means. You can target one monster your opponent controls. Semicolon, right? So on activation, you are going to target the monster. Then other things can happen. Your opponent has a chance to chain. The chain is going to build, the chain's going to resolve, and only after the chain resolves is the stuff after the semicolon going to happen. So just understanding how the semicolon works is going to help a lot in terms of just understanding what parts of cards are going to happen in what order. And like I said before, this is something that's just not really explained like anywhere, like in the rule book. It's just one of those things that you have to know. So I really hope that this helps someone out, just kind of knowing the difference between the colon and the semicolon and how exactly that's going to work. So hopefully this video helps someone out. Yeah, if you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.